live, and we are live. Hello, everybody, and welcome to your favorite rugby Thursday night 7 o'clock show. I feel like that's pretty fair. I mean, maybe there's another one out there, but we'll just assume it. If you're watching this, to be fair, it must be your favorite one because you're not watching the other
I was
one.
about to say your only Thursday night rugby show.
The best Thursday night 7 o'clock rugby show. The Rugby Fan Forum. And I'm joined, as usual, by the usual suspects, Mr. Reza the Rumbler, as he is now going to, as he's now preferred to be called. So very quickly, I think Reza will just shout out the new Instagram, eh? So Reza the Rumbler on IG, eh?
Yeah, unfortunately, appropriately named by you, Steve. I won't say the reason why, but anyone who plays golf will relate. But yeah, check it out if you can.
Yeah, okay. And then we're joined by Mr. Curtips himself. I'm not sure if he does Instagram, but he is on at the Curtips on Twitter. Chris, apart from your flurry of a life, how are things treating you?
Yeah, other than that, yeah, not too bad. Thanks, Stevie. How are things with you?
Yeah, look, it's tough out here. Where there's warnings of stage 8 load shedding. Managed to heat up dinner before the show, so I'm sorted. I know reasons on the clock. They're trying to make sure we've got a bit of food for later. So we're coping as best we can out here. I found out that Damon Fento, who was the Lions' young hooker that played SA under 20s, is on the bench for the Sharks tomorrow. So that was a nice way to start the evening. Didn't even know we had left. So I suppose I could say I've been better, but. What can you do? What can you do? Such is the life of being a Lions fan. So
the player drain continues, I suppose.
Yeah, it would just be nice if they could just tell us, just like a little bit of a heads up.
I see you selected Frankie Horn for the Springboks, going all the way.
Yeah, no, so I did my URC team of the season and put Frankie in at 8, which actually I thought was going to be quite controversial. It was actually very boring because all the comments are like, yeah, fair. And I was like, argue with me, people. Tell me he's not. But everybody's like, yeah, well, Ulrich was pretty average. Notche played half the season. Pepsi played half the season. Evan Lewis didn't really play. And Diamani was kind of a bit everywhere. So.
But so you're URC team, right? Because I think Vista's probably the incumbent now.
Yeah, so I did an SA-based URC team of the season. So, for example, I didn't include like a Dwayne Muir, for example. So just out of the 4 SA sides, who are the top performing players.
It would have been Roos last year, but Frankie's earned it because
so chat's got a lot to talk about tonight. We've got a Leinster F-up is what some of the fans are talking about. I've created a bit of a stir because I asked the question, have they disrespected the competition by fielding a B side and getting knocked out? Stormers doing the business. Leinster could be, however, Champions Cup winners a week after their stuff up, so maybe they could be making amends. We can talk about the pros and cons of that. We've got Cheslin Kolbe chasing yet another trophy in his career. I was actually looking, that guy's basically almost won everything, bar like Super Rugby. It's like won everything he could have. So, pretty big game for him tomorrow.
Send Chesy to the Crusaders, huh?
Listen to the thing, surely as a player, you must sit there going, like, do I just do, like literally, do I do a 1 season sabbatical Crusaders? Do I do, like, a season in, like, Saracens and see if I can just do it all?
Sure, why not? I mean, it's there for the taking.
So, yeah, we'll see how he does tomorrow. And then we've got a bit of Springbok news because they are back in training. And we've got a very interesting, not really an update, but a teaser. He's teasing us. And we're going to start with that. It's the KOLISI news, which I'm sure is why everybody's here to find out what we mean by will KOLISI make the Rugby World Cup. And I'll tell you exactly what we mean. So Mr. Sia himself posted, I think it was yesterday. First of all, for those that don't know, the Springboks are currently in Durban. They are having their first alignment camp of the semi-post club season. Basically, everybody whose seasons come to an end are down there. So it's the Japanese players who are finished. It's the URC players who are finished. I don't think no Premiership players are down there, and no top 14 players, because that hasn't finished yet. So it's kind of the usual suspects. The interesting inclusions were Grant Williams and Marco van Staden, who continue to sort of be involved in the group. And then because it's an alignment camp and there are, I think, only about 2 or 3 on-field stations and quite a few off-field stations, those who are currently not available for selection are also there, KOLISI being one of them. Now, the good news is we did see him jumping off a bus quite casually and sort of walked off, but he posted yesterday a video of himself cycling no bandages or support or whatever like that, with the caption Day 17. Now, it's difficult to really read into it, but one wouldn't imagine if you're on a 6 to 8, 9 month recovery, I don't think you'd be posting Day 17 as if it's that far down the line. So this is now begged the question, is he going to be available? And what was quite interesting is they actually released a press release 2 weeks ago, very short press release, just saying that he had undergone surgery, that it was successful, the surgeon was happy. They're not going to put a return date on it, and they'll issue an update in due course. So basically, they've done absolutely everything to not rule him out of the World Cup yet officially, and now he's gone and taken to Instagram and said Day 17. Does this mean that, as far as he is concerned, come France, come September, October, he is leading the buggers out for a title defense?
Whoa.
Well, are we heading for another Gary Teichmann 99 year? Are we? I think. There we go. Busted captain. We want to take him all the way. Sentimental there, because obviously Teichmann took us through that world record run. Bobby was in the wings. Don't know who's nipping. Is it with Faribi? Do you think Faribi starts?
Well, I think for me that's the biggest reason why I don't think it's the same situation, because I wouldn't say that. I mean, we've got good loose forwards, but I wouldn't say that we've got like this one player who's just like so good we can't leave out, and it would be like almost unfair to play him ahead of him. I mean, he has been playing some of his best rugby of his career over the last couple of years.
Yeah, but if you do an injury and you don't play, I mean, I'm never comfortable when these players get injured and they have to ease their way back. And some players can have done it, but I don't. He's carried so much workload over the last couple of years. I just don't want to see KOLISI be forced in and not be at the level that he's been playing. That will be terrible. And if we do lose, it's how is he going to feel? This is a tricky one for Rassi to work and Jacques to work through, I think.
Yeah, I think as professionals though, he wants to be there, right? So I'm not going to read too much into his post, but I mean, it is amazing that he's cycling at day 17, and then
exactly.
Doesn't seem to be much support there. So from that perspective, I really do think that he could be ready. He could be in a playable state. Whether it's a good idea for him on a personal level, it remains to be seen. And I worry about him. I worry about all these guys. Like you said, when they come back and you're not quite sure where they're at.
Do we have is there a date now? We don't have a date because there is still plenty of time, I guess. There is, if he is feeling good, we don't know how his body's feeling. I mean, if he gets 2 games in or 3 games in before the World Cup and then just eases through the pools, well, it's not exactly easy pool, but you know what I mean? Like he could be back to where we want him or expect him to be by quarterfinals if we're there.
I think the biggest frustration is the lack is we haven't really been told exactly what needed to be happening. Look, obviously he didn't have to have an ACL, because that you'd know with that kind of situation. So there were apparently a bit of meniscus issues and stuff like that, and they were very much looking for a non-surgical route. But I think a lot of the stories that came out about what he had to have and what surgery was to have were quite far from the truth. Somebody I know is got his sort of ear quite close to the ground, was saying that a lot of the stories were quite far off the mark in regards to what he actually had to have done. So we don't really know exactly what he had done and with it, therefore, what the recovery time is. But I suppose it's at this stage, we're sitting in May, you've got June, July. So July Rugby Championship. If he can be on the field by August, it means he could get in 3 games before the World Cup.
Yeah. If he's feeling good and he's back on the field in August, then I think we're okay. I think it's going to be okay. And then maybe, he doesn't play 80 minutes or 70 minutes. Maybe he, manage him through it and then power run through the last games that we have to win if you want to win the World Cup again.
Yeah. Yeah, look, I don't want to put my finger on anything. I'm going to say I hope he gets back. I hope he goes so in the best of health. And the form, I think that C is one of those players who's shown himself. He can be in bad form domestically, and not to say that he is, but he can be in bad form domestically and still show up for the box. I really do believe that. I don't think he ever has a terrible game. He's not capable of that anymore. He's elevated himself to the level where when he puts in a 6 out of 10, we're sitting there going, oh, damn, that was a bad game for him. But the reality is that it's still half decent. We can guarantee that he's not going to give us a shocker. So from that perspective, I like him on the field. But yeah.
He's been incredible. I remember I moved to the UK 10 years ago, 2012, and I remember I just arrived. It was May. Stormers were playing the Bulls, and KOLISI was playing for the Stormers, and he played a blinder, a man of the match, and that was 10 years ago. And I was thinking back then, like that was him at his peak. That's KOLISI having a good game, and look where he's got to in 10 years. He's had a remarkable career. He certainly exceeded my expectations.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think his last 2 years as we said, I think he's been a whole.
Well, actually, how did he even get better? He's better than the last World Cup, the form he was showing.
Yeah,
he's been on this. He's just been on this steady, nice, lovely incline, getting confident and building into the role and being backed. And he had the ability. Obviously, they were that game proved to me that he was a player. Like he showed it there. I remember. I can even remember that game distinctly. He was crashing through the gain line, making tackles like he's been playing now. And but he's got to that level and kept it there for the books the last 7 years. It's been really, really cool.
Yeah, well, let's hope that come the first game in September, which I think is against Scotland actually, so it's quite a big game that Seal will be leading us out. Because I think very importantly from a morale point of view, I think people you can't underestimate how important he is to the entire environment.
He just needs to be there.
Yeah, and I think also a World Cup when it comes to, for example, like the media presence stuff like that, it's a very hostile environment. You're not going to a World Cup. Everyone's expecting you to do well. Majority of the overseas press will be writing us off saying that we can't win because I don't think we've ever gone to a World Cup and been given the chance of actually winning it. The South African public will demand nothing but the title. And he is so good at diffusing situations, at being very open and honest, and I think he handles that sort of side very well. And he also takes a lot of heat off the rest of the squad with the way he does conduct himself. So I think his presence there is going to be very vital. So even if he maybe isn't in his full fitness and he does eventually maybe even become a bench player, or even if he doesn't play as much as he'd like to, I think he's important as a personality to be in and around that squad. A bit like sort of Skulk Brits was in the last one, but he will actually be a player.
I think we're not medical experts, right? But I think if he's riding a bike and he's not in crutches or in a wheelchair, I think he's got a very good chance he's going to be playing. The only thing we have to potentially worry about is doing a mischief somewhere else while that compensates that injury when he's training, like what happened to K Volta, to lots of guys, right? When they overcompensate the injury, they bust the other limb. So hopefully he stays out of that trouble.
Yeah. Look, he's going to be there regardless in some capacity, whether it's advisory or not. Let's take it in the stride. Every week we'll be here, we'll be talking about it, and I'm sure Stevie will keep us updated. But yeah, let's hope for the best. I hope he doesn't do himself more injuries, because to be honest, I'm not entirely sure that from the longevity point of view that he has another World Cup in him. After this, not to say he's not enough, but because we have so many options up and coming, at that point when the next World Cup comes around, he might be sort of out of his.
I'll put my hand up. I didn't see him. I didn't think he was actually really going to get to this World Cup. I thought he had I thought he peaked, although he peaked at the World Cup, and he was going to be there maybe 2 years and hand it over to someone else, and. He's playing the best, some of the best games he's been playing his whole career.
Yeah. What will be interesting for me is if he doesn't make the World Cup, whether he does call time on his Springbok career. I think a lot of people keep thinking that the World Cup is going to be a swan song, which is interesting because he's only 32 this year. So
so he was 22 in that game. Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah. So, but it'll be interesting to see if you kind of feel if he goes to the World Cup. Let's say he goes to the World Cup and he wins it. That's quite a nice time to walk away, to be able to say, right, you know what, I had my 5 years as captain, I won 2 World Cups, I won the British and Irish Lions series, I'm going over to France anyway, I'm happy to step back, I'm going to go earn my sheets and go and be the face of Adidas and stuff, you guys crack on. If he doesn't make the World Cup, it'll be interesting to see if he then goes, no, actually, I need to give this another 2 years, I've still got things I want to achieve in this Springbok jersey.
I think what's holding back every Springbok, World Cups aside, is the fact that we underperform in rugby championships. Mm-hmm. I think it's a big one. I think that in our hearts, we still miss that New Zealand rivalry. We don't have Super Rugby anymore. And we still believe that we can prove ourselves against England, we can prove ourselves against Ireland or any of those other top nations. But deep down, these guys want to play New Zealand, they want to play Australia, and they want to go out and show them that, we can beat literally everyone. And so I think that's a big motivator for a lot of the guys. Um, yeah, unfortunately, it's diluted this year, but obviously, World Cup is a World Cup. But I think that regardless of whether he wins or not, I think he's going to give us a year or two more just to see if he can get those under his belt.
And the problem is, you give us a year or two more, you suddenly start edging up. I mean, I was just looking now, he's got 75 tests. So if he plays, for example, 3 tests before the World Cup and then plays 3 or 4 tests during the World Cup and he ends up playing 8 or 9 tests, he's suddenly sitting in that sort of 84, 85 mark. If he's now looking at next season going, yeah, listen, if I play like 9, 10 games next season, all of a sudden that sort of Springbok Centurion sort of mark comes into it, which very few people do. You know, even Etzebeth, I mean, it's incredible how quickly even Etzebeth and how young he is to have gotten there.
Look, he's a freak though. I mean, he's once in a lifetime kind of player.
Yeah.
KOLISI started not even late, but maybe just a little bit later than he did. So we'll see. Just see some. I'm looking at some comments here. Something I wanted to touch on is Saku saying that I wish we could move youngsters in more fluidly. And I watched a couple of your videos, Steve, about that possible SA traveling squad for the World Cup. And I was looking at it and I was going, you know what? Why are we having such a discussion about who should be going to this World Cup? And it's because we've got so many informed youngsters, but it's almost too late. It's like they were developed, like you said, probably we reach World Cups and we aim for it and we strive for it. And then the 2 years following a World Cup's kind of like a bit of a haze because Oaks are dropping out, Oaks are coming in. It's like not really all that concise. And then we get to like 2 years before the World Cup, and only then do we start going, okay, we actually start looking at some new blood. And then we've got a flipping Mani Libok sitting there with however many, I think he said like 68 minutes that he's got under his belt, which is really sad. I mean, I can't believe that we're sitting here having to basically take our old squad and then chuck in some new blood who have less than 10 caps. You know, in 4 years.
Yeah. Look, I think this last 4 year period has been a very unique situation. Obviously, we lost out the entire 2020, so we went 2 years without playing a single test match. When we did come, we suddenly had a British and Irish Lions series on our door, so it was like, right, we got to win this. And then all of a sudden, you're sitting there going, shit, we're actually 1 season away from a World Cup. Do we bin this season and bring in youngsters? Which is why they did name such a big squad. I mean, that was like a 48-man squad we announced last year, and we had that whole Wales test, stuff like that. Or do they sit there going, well, shit, you know, if we want to win the World Cup, we have to start putting in the building blocks. When you think in 2019 was won by all what we have to do in 2018. That was when we sent guys to New Zealand and didn't send guys to New Zealand, and that whole thing to try and, you know, build up towards 2019. So it has been a very strange 4-year sort of cycle.
But we seem to be the only ones that struggled with it.
But I think I think the British and Irish Lions series is probably what threw that all out. If we had a normal Ireland incoming series or a Scotland incoming series in 2021,
right,
I think you can go and say, right, well, yeah, the youngsters.
A bit more experimental.
Yeah.
Understood, yeah.
Wasn't this the World Cup we were actually aiming for, and we were supposed to win the World Cup bid, and this was the one that KOLISI was going to hold up at home?
Yeah, it was.
And then we won. And then South Africa won last time, and
we got schneid by a couple of the big nations in terms of the hosting. So
yeah, no, thanks for that, Chris.
I'm gonna bite my tongue in case some of my French mates are watching.
No. But if you actually, you know, like I was actually saying, I'm actually fuming, and I'm fuming on several levels. At least 2027, the Cricket World Cup is. I'm in my prime at the moment. I am late 20s, in my prime, no hold back, currently single. I can go balls to the walls for a World Cup. I can just go and I can send it, and I can go and enjoy myself. By the time this World Cup's going to come back, I'm going to be like in my late 30s. I might have a kid or two running around. I can't just go and bin the family for like 6 weeks and go part of the box. And they've robbed me of this. This is bullshit.
No, I'm sorry. I lost everything you said after I'm in my prime.
Look at this, dude. I could be running out for the box this weekend.
I don't know what scares me. I obviously following the game. We all followed it, but we won 99, lost the quarterfinal and semi-final, and then won it, and then knocked out quarterfinal. I don't know. It's not easy to go back to back World Cups. New Zealand did it, but it's not. But I suppose this is South Africa's strongest, best opportunity to go. Well, mind you, 2011 potentially could have won the World Cup with that side. We went saw the refs there.
Yeah.
We're famous for, but argue me strength wise, they're probably similar levels. But I know there's big hype for the Boks, but geez, man, we're gonna have to go through Ireland, Scotland, France, New Zealand, maybe Ireland again, one of them again. It's gonna be hard.
Look, the nice thing is, do you think that if we were to win this cup, we'd finally actually get the credit for winning this World Cup, as opposed to every single time we win a World Cup, there's an excuse. Every single time. Oh, but this, New Zealand had a few points in '95, and England played their final in the semi-final, and all this crap. If we win this year's World Cup, I don't want to hear anything.
Yeah, but also we pick up Samoa and Fiji and Japan's along the way as well, and we get luck in the draws. If we can go bam bam, France, Ireland, New Zealand, France, bam, win the world, then that will be awesome. That will feel really lekker.
Well, we'll see. But I'd actually just like to segue that into this Leinster discussion. You talked about obviously England, their excuse last time having played their final before their final. Right, and well, it's not exactly the same, but I'm shocked at this Leinster performance. I'm really shook. I mean, I think we all premeditated it, sort of. It's just like Leinster.
Well, we did say they should have played their full. They should have played their full strength. They disrespected Munster in the competition.
Because a week ago they hadn't named their side, and we all said, we all said they should be playing their three games in a row. We said we should be playing their 3. Listen to us.
Come on,
every game like a final. You're at that stage. You work so hard to get there. You can give 3 weeks of your life to just everything. Give it horns and rest after.
Yeah, but we also, I think a lot have credit to go to Munster. They are actually the form side. I mean, they've beaten.
They peaked at the right time.
Sharks, they beat Stormers. They peaked, and exactly, and they are played. They were literally. I could see I was on Leinster killed the bank balance last week. But it's one of those games within 10 minutes, like the Ulster Connacht game the week before. You can see what teams came out the sheds. I mean, which hasn't, and Leinster just couldn't get going, and then so that try, which was brushed the fingernail or something, which they scored in the first half. I think that was a big momentum shifter as well. They just couldn't get back into it, and Munster were hungry.
Yeah, but
I don't think it's a fault they deserved. I don't know if they rest on their laurel. Well, look, it was both ways. One team like Reds, like the Chiefs and the Reds as well. Reds taking Chiefs' unbeaten record. Chiefs clearly thought they just had to rock up and win, and Reds didn't leave anything out there. And same thing with Munster and Leinster.
No, I don't think it's a stretch to say disrespect is the correct word to have used.
That's a harsh word. It's harsh.
No, it is harsh, but it's true.
Yeah.
And I don't actually really care what the Irish fans are saying. Like, oh well, how could we have predicted this? It's just good game management. I think it's absolute rubbish. These are top level athletes who have played one of the longest seasons of domestic rugby that's ever been. Right, I think it is actually in terms of the length of games and how many fixtures they have. And you go, look, we've got everything available to you as an athlete to perform for as long as you need to perform. Now, I'm not blaming the players here because it's not their call at the end of the day. But frankly, as a coach, as a player, I would be sitting up there and I'd be saying, hell no, don't try to bench me. I will play all 3 games. I will give you all of that. Because I think that was I can't actually wrap my head around it.
So for me, let's also backtrack. Leinster, they haven't been in the final. They didn't win the final. They went in the URC final last year. They played the Rainbow Cup. With the one that was Benetton won the Rainbow Cup.
Yeah, Benetton won.
Did they play in
it? They would have. I'm pretty sure they would have.
So we've been banging. All we heard is Leinster, the greatest team in history. The Irish are going to win everything and win the World Cup. What if they haven't actually won anything? If they don't. Because for me, what I'm saying is this team for me feels like it should have had 2 or 3 trophies in the bag already. And you got an opportunity to beat Munster, have a home final, and then go into European to get that silverware. What if they don't win on Saturday? They're 3
Yeah,
years. This mighty Leinster team with 3 years with no trophies. I'm right with the trophies. I'm trying to rack my brain. It's
No,
not
so
always,
Rainbow
always
Cup.
racking well.
Yeah, Rainbow. Yeah, so Rainbow Cup. Finished top of the log. Remember, it was the top of the log and then straight to a final. Leinster finished fourth that year. And then obviously Bulls topped the South African table, and then so we went over. But yeah, then they didn't win.
If I was a Leinster player now, I'd feel hollow. I have a little hole in me thinking I've underachieved in my Leinster career so far, and they need to get it right. Obviously, Jacques Nienaber was going to come save the day. I forgot about that, so they'll be fine for the next 4 years.
Well, for example, somebody like your young players, for example, they some of them would have never won the Pro 14 because the last time they won it was 2020. It says 2021, but I'm a bit confused about that. Yes, there was the Pro 14 in 2021. Remember, there was that. There's like a weird competition that holds for the Pro 14 back then. I actually can't remember the entire sort of format back then, but put it this way.
Did it also stop? Yeah, I can't remember. Everything stopped like just before the end of those seasons. Well, Super Rugby just kicked off. What state was that? They must have just cancelled that one, right?
Yeah, it was. 2021. They had no South African teams correctly.
They went into the Rainbow Cup at like the end of the
COVID, during like this sort of period now. Stuff was a disaster back then. But they haven't won the URC, and as we just said, I think I'll be very interested to know what the players feel like. Like you're a Caelan Doris, you're a Ross Bird, for example.
But that's what I mean.
You're sitting there, Hugo Keenan, you're sitting there going, like, if I had played, would we have won? And for me, I would have gone full strength semi-final, full strength final. And
I would have as well.
If you, at the end of the day, back yourselves to at least give yourselves 2 good performances, do enough to beat La Rochelle this weekend. And if you run out, if the tank runs out next weekend and you don't go all the way, fine. You're sitting with a Champions Cup in the bank already.
I just think we don't get many chances like this to come along, and we've got. I take the Premier League as an example. Now I'm sorry for bringing in another sport into this again, but you've got City and Arsenal right behind them. They are fielding full strength sides to ensure that they close out this Premier League. At the same time, they try to chase the Champions League. These guys are playing literally days apart for both of those competitions, and for the most part, they're fielding full strength teams because they need their very best on the field. And the Oaks will rest afterwards, and they will rest happy, knowing that. I mean, it just doesn't make sense to me.
But we also spoke. I mean, firstly, Munster. I thought Munster had done their job. They played some games. I thought they were at the last hurdle, and I said that. And then we said this Leinster so-called second, third team, if it played to its potential, really should have won the game. They were just so awful, and that's the shocker. Like, how did they not arrive? Like, I mean, they did get hammered by the Bulls, but that's a different game, different situation.
Yeah.
You would have thought they would have taken. But those Irish derbies, I've always said they're hard, they're tough. Those guys get up. Those Irish guys get up for those games.
So as a first team player, right, you are sitting there. You've got an entire season, and you, for the most part, with the second team have played some games, and third teams have played some. But as a first team, you earn the right to be in that semi-final. Right? Yeah. Why the hell would you step back? Is what I'm saying. From a seniority point of view, you step up and you go.
I agree. You would want to. You all players. You want to be in those games. You want to be at home in a semi-final in a big comp, playing that game, making
that you've earned.
But think about it. I mean, I know there's that Irish Grand Slam teams with the Gara and so on. They won the Grand Slam, touted to do well in World Cups. But that Leinster team was winning. Okay, it was arguably the Pro 12 wasn't as strong as the URC. Ireland didn't do anything in the World Cups. If Ireland don't win the World Cup, what is this crop of players who're supposedly the vintage best of all time? Are they going to be feeling if they don't at least get? For me, this Leinster team needs to have 2 European Cups in the bag before this generation starts calling it quits. So they better bloody win on Saturday.
Yeah, well, this is the thing, it's high risk, high reward, I suppose, because if they win on Saturday, then majority of the supporters go, cool. Yeah, we should have had a double at the end of the day, but it's difficult not to be happy about being European champions. But if they lose,
Because they must believe they're the best team as well, right? You would think when you're in those type of environments, you feel like you're the best. But look, La Rochelle have been in the last 3 finals and won the last one. La Rochelle's the best team in Europe, not Leinster.
well, we'll find out. We'll find out in 48 hours. We will know. But yeah, it's interesting though to sort of see exactly how that's all going to sort of pan out, and very interesting to see what the reaction and stuff's going to be. But speaking of Europe, Challenge Cup tomorrow. Cheslin Kolbe for me is sort of the big reason that I'm very excited. Although I'm pretty torn because I'd love to see Cheslin Kolbe add to his ridiculous record, but at the same time, I'd really like to see Glasgow win because I think they're a really cool side. They were basically my second team. I watched them the first game of the URC. I think they actually played. I remember watching them, and that day
they lost to Bennett in the first day, didn't they? I'm pretty sure it was Franco's first game.
Oh yeah, this season, yeah. I'm saying, but the first URC game ever. I think it was last year.
Yeah.
I watched Glasgow play, and that game I was like, yeah, these guys are my second team. So I'd really like to see them win.
For me, they got a nice balanced squad. I like their squad. They got Grant in the forwards. They got some skill in the backs. Half Scottish, well coached. Nice little vibe going there.
It wouldn't be a Scottish
half Scottish.
Yeah, half Scottish, but a couple of Scots around there. The ironic thing is they've got a South African. Well, technically he did play Scotland under international, but Nathan McBeth coming from South Africa, back there, who probably is Scottish. But this is the reason that we all want Cheslin Kolbe to win. Can we just take a look at this record? These are his honours. 2014 Currie Cup winner. At Toulouse, Heineken Champions Cup in 2021. Top 14 French League 2019-2021. South Africa, Rugby Championship winner. World Cup winner.
Yes, what a boy, Chi.
British and Irish Lions Tour South Africa winner. He was a men's 15s player of the year nominee. And to add to that, he also has an Olympic bronze medal.
Cup player, eh?
Just to throw that a little bit of. He also had a decent sevens.
But is he the most decorated now? Because I know hasn't Matt one of them?
Wasn't it Schalk Burger who
really? He won jack shit with Stormers.
Are we talking about South African players or are we talking about in general?
Oh, sorry, I'm sorry for swearing as well. Sorry, Stan. But he won for Saracens a bit. I suppose that Bokside won couple of Tri-Nations. Did he win a World Cup? Yeah, won the World Cup.
Are we talking about most decorated player?
Most decorated South African player.
So Habana must be up there.
Yeah.
I think it's a banner. Blackies, Matfield, that Bulls trio, that solid Bulls team into the stat.
It's basically those that were in the Bulls team that they went overseas because they then went and joined some pretty good.
Yeah, and then they went to Toulon. I think it's Backies. Backies won all the Bulls, all the book stuff, and then all the French stuff. I think it was Backies. I think Backies is the most decorated.
Yeah, but none of them would have had sevens. So that's what I'm saying. Cheslin needs to do a year at Crusaders, and then he needs to do a year at Saracens, grab a premiership, a Super Rugby. Probably needs to go play in the Olympics next year and try to get an Olympic gold.
Just imagine being Bucky's Buerta and the most decorated South African player ever. You don't even know it, and all of your trophies is using as beer mugs.
This, by the way, I'm looking at it here. His record is unreal. Vodacom Cup. Do you remember Bucky's Buerta? Do you remember the good old Vodacom Cup?
Yes.
The Vodacom Cup 2001. 4 Currie Cups. 1 was drawn, so a bit of an asterisk there. Super Rugby 3 titles. 3 Champions Cups. Top 14. That's just his club career.
Yes,
Sure.
And
then a World Cup, 2 Tri-Nations, a British and Irish Lions series win as well. Not to mention 45 red cards, a couple of headbats, and more stitches than we can probably count.
I enjoyed some of the bits that Matfield did in that podcast the other day of the Rugby Pass when he was telling the story about the little young buckies coming to the practice at Falcons in his car and boombox going, and he was like skinny as a rake and full of attitude, and then he got him right. He said he didn't want to play with this oak, but then obviously they formed that formidable partnership.
Stevie, I wanted to ask you a question. what was the situation with that celebration video? I found out a bit the reaction.
Yo, it was weird, eh?
Check these check the Stormers celebrating because Leinster lost. Like,
Actually,
What? Come
to be fair, I quite
That's
like
huge. That was
anything that's
huge.
going to create a bit of. I did enjoy the Joseph Weber like holding his like I think it's his daughter or his son, shouting, "We're gonna f them up! We're gonna f them up!" Like,
look, I just don't understand it.
Every-
This is a competitive
every-
environment. It's
Every team we know would have said, if a change room there was no camera,
Yeah.
every single sports team would have jumped up and down and said, "Okay, we're not going to fucking Leinster for a final."
well, it's
Come
two
on.
things. First of all, you're not playing against
Mm.
what is one of the two best teams in the world. Like, let's take that off the table. They effed it up. Nobody wants to play against Leicester. La Rochelle probably would have, might even almost prefer to play Toulouse on Saturday and then play Leinster potentially. So nobody wants to play Leinster. Second of all, traveling has been the biggest thing in the URC. People don't travel well. So it's a two-edged sword. First of all, you're not playing against the best team that were undefeated the entire tournament bar one mishap. And second of all, you now got a home final. You've got to bring Munster over to your shitty pitch, which is breaking up. But you get to have 55,000 Cape Townians, although apparently it's got quite a big Munster thing coming out. But I mean, who wouldn't celebrate having a home URC final?
Okay. I mean, I'm a Stormers fan, so obviously I was ecstatic, and any of the players would be buzzing. And I think I actually thought back to sometimes when you've seen change rooms like football when they
Yeah.
get the right results, a couple high fives, smiles, buzzing. Stormers are flipping raving. They were like freaking in Tomorrowland. Like it was.
To be
It
fair,
was a bit
I also
excessive.
think
It was a bit
they were
excessive.
pretty well oiled. I mean, they just walked off an 80-minute game, which was pretty high intensity. All been on the lagers now for 2 hours. Like, I don't think they're going to be sitting there going, "Oh, that's really cool, chaps." Like, home final, good, congratulations, handshakes all around. I mean, the brandy was definitely flowing that night.
It was a night. It was a nightclub in there.
yeah.
Yeah,
I,
literally.
I mean, I think the reaction, like you said, was probably more for the fact that it was a home game than it was an away game, man.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
fact, even if it wasn't, and it was a neutral ground for the final, and Leinster had lost, let them go buck wild because, I mean, like that's actually Leinster should take
Yeah,
that
but-
as a compliment. They should be going, oh, these are.
It was a massive. It's huge for Stormers, man. Barring that result, which I'm pretty sure Stormers are going to put it right. It's a fortress. Yeah, everything. You got 50,000 home fans. You don't have to schlep 3 days in. Nah, we're perfect. Buzzing. The Oaks are buzzing. They
And
can
for
smell
me,
the- smell
it
the
creates
next-
like a revenge story for Munster. So now Munster, I mean, you know that Munster, just before they walk out, they're going to put that on the TV and be like, "Yeah, this was them celebrating because they thought they're going to walk over us, go and prove a point." Like, it's about the theatre. It's about us having stories and grudges. And I want to see Peter O'Mahony, smiling to the cameras when he goes over, saying, "Celebrate that." Oh, we want moments like this. It's so boring. You can't just cleanse the game of emotion. It's this stuff that makes it so entertaining.
Can I tell you that Stormers backline in that game was flipping unreal. My God. And obviously,
on the weekend.
I can't play money as a
The backline player, honorary backline player, yeah, with the number 7 on the jersey, yeah.
I mean, Jesus Christ, they looked so good.
I don't know. Are we going back to that game? But I was also very pleasantly surprised with Connacht. They came to play. Well, kudos to them. We said they could. I thought they would live with them 60 minutes and it'll be like 18-15, but they lived with them and got it to like 30 all, close to 30 all, and then it was a great game.
And I'll tell you what, to be honest, Connacht rocked up, and Stormers actually looked shell-shocked in that first sort of 10 minutes.
Yeah,
They scored that try. I think Stormers went, "Shit, guys, we didn't expect this."
I appreciate that. They came with a surprise. They didn't come with their usual game plan, which had served them well previously. Like I know I was trying to remember they did lose in that Donny Craven. But yeah, I thought that the conditions, if they would slow down, they would haul Stormers into a dogfight, but they hauled Stormers into a ding-dong battle. Like the thing is, but that's what guys are saying. The Irish commentary I get, Stormers must just They also allowed Stormers to play, and you shouldn't actually be doing that either. That's why Stormers went on to still score 40 points because you allowed them to play.
Yeah.
They probably should have brought them into a dogfight, but pretty impressive that they actually went for it. It was a great game to watch,
Yeah, look, 2 entertaining semi-finals. I think the URC stocks are currently higher than ever. I see Stephen Jones from the Times was talking about he's got a bet on that the URC is dead in 3 years. But this is also the same guy that published an article about how bad the London Sevens were a week before the London Sevens was even about to kick off. So we won't be diving into one of the worst rugby journalists out there.
But it's nice for me as a Stormers fan, obviously.
We get it. Join the final. Congratulations. You're having a good time. Nobody cares, Chris.
Yeah, but the thing is,
we're about to win.
I don't panic with the Stormers side. That's my point. It's not like, let's be honest. If Sharks go down 15 points, you're bloody worried, right? You're like, oh shit.
Lions do it. I'm like, oh cool, only 15 points.
But I haven't. This Stormers side so solid. They're so they're in their work at the moment. Like they're always in the game. Their defense is good enough. It's good. But the box form is crucial, right? And he's firing again. It's good.
Yeah. Right.
Where we watching final this weekend? Yeah.
Which final? Well, you know where I'm going to be. I'm going to be here up in the lights.
Guess I'm on my.
Yeah. Well, I can't. I'm looking forward to it.
Well, we've got Rion's on Challenge Cup duty tomorrow night, so we could get a couple of lagers on the Challenge Cup. Rion, we appreciate your work, Chief. Good luck for tomorrow night, and we'll be out working hard on.
They're both cracking finals.
Yeah,
so I enjoy Toulon. I haven't watched the Challenge Cup final in ages. I'm going to watch it tomorrow night. Because I also like Leicester.
And a nice Prem final coming up as well. So it's a pretty cool ends to the season. Right, now before we go any further, because we are going to forget, Chris, you've got to make us some money this weekend. We've got to pay for the beers we're going to drink tomorrow.
I've got my account open. I'm doing exactly what you told me.
We didn't lose last week, boys. We didn't lose. So let's calm down. Obviously we had the loser weekend last week, and I'm just going to bring it up so I can't see it on the screen that you got there, Stevie. So I've just put in the winning bets. We took force. I was quite confident on the force over 29, which arrived, and the treble came in quite stress-free as well, which was nice. And then if you guys remember, there was the long shot 1 to 12 treble, but that blew out in the first leg. That was a couple of units. And then I had the lean on the Chiefs, and like I said, the Chiefs just didn't arrive. So that's why it was a lean, because I wasn't overconfident on it. But if Chiefs brought their form, they would have sorted that out. But Reds also arrived. This week, there's actually, to be honest, there were a lot of options, and also again some of my favorite markets aren't out. But what I've pulled together for this week is a double and a treble, and I've just put some leans in as well in case anyone's interested. But the first game is tomorrow, Pacifica versus Crusaders, in Mount Smart in Auckland. Lots of rain around. I've seen. I get so nervous trying to predict New Zealand weather. It screwed me over a lot on when working out some bets. You won't see a sun in the report, and then it comes to kickoff and there's not a cloud in sight, and vice versa. So New Zealand weather's tricky. You need to possibly wait, but it looks like solid rain. And also Saders, they don't have Moanga, Havili playing, which are quite important. They don't seem to get much cohesion when Burke and McLeod are playing. Good players, but they just don't play enough, and they just don't seem to gel. They play them a lot away, and the Crusaders are great at home. They'll win the game probably, but they seem to be very sticky away. So if there's a bit of weather around, I think Pacifica are going to be up for it. They took Crusaders, if you can remember, they took them close. I think they were leading at halftime when they played them in Crusaders. Took them close. But I think 71 points is too much. I think it's just too much for the game. So under 71, Reds versus Blue, sunny skies in Brisbane. This game goes well over close to 60 points often. So 51 points is solid, good conditions, two point scoring teams and dodgy defenses again. And then the treble final. Beginning of the week, I was quite confident on Toulon. But then I got my goggles back on and thought it through again, and I'm thinking, no, actually, it's going to be quite a close game. I think they're very equally balanced side. So 15 points to Glasgow is a lot of points, so we'll take the points. La Rochelle as well. they're hard to beat. Finals day, they're going to be difficult to beat. Even this Leinster side, then I don't perceive Leinster to just run away with this game. No Sean going to allow that to happen. So we'll take 17.5 points there. And Rebels versus Highlanders is going to be an absolute ding-dong battle. I was possibly thinking of the overs points here as well. But the Rebels are very much in this game and probably keep it tight. If I'm going to throw it out, the one I'm most worried about potentially is the Rebels because I feel the Highlanders are due a big game, and I'm worried that this might be the game. But we'll see. And I've got some leans. Like I said, I shifted from Toulon -6 to Glasgow +6. I like it. I think Glasgow, they lost that quarterfinal, they rested. I think both teams are going to be highly motivated. Both want this badly. It's going to be a cracker, as we said. 6 points is too much for either side. Toulon are 6 points favourites, but I think Glasgow are well in it. And I'd taken I'd say the overs, yeah. Tars, these Samoan sides away to even the Australian teams, even more so. Australians, loads of points in the games. Fiji just don't like to tackle when they travel. Tars are scoring points at will quite easily. So over 60 lean there. So what I was wanting to say is because we use these are all on Bet-Koza, of course. I would like the Tars if there was available, it would be on a unit play. It would actually be probably Tars points, and I like force points, but I don't know what the lines are, and they're probably going to be quite high, probably around 40, 42, 40, somewhere around there for the Tars, which is high, but I'm anticipating Tars score 50 plus anyway. And Brumbies, they're not that compact, hard team to break down anymore. They didn't point. They shifted 30 points at home. Force can shift 30 points past them at home. They've got good home form. So I would have taken Force and Tars points. So have a look there. I haven't put it here because the markets weren't out. But I'm pretty confident that these are both, they're going to arrive. They're going to arrive and we're going to march on. Oh, the record 9-6 plus 9.76 is the highest we've got to. So we did lose a bit last week, but 9.76 profit is the highest total we've been. So we move forward.
Yeah, good work, boy.
Yeah, love your work. Right, and as always, let's throw a couple of extra tips out on Twitter at the Code Tips.
Yep.
So a couple of different markets and stuff like that. So if you do have access to different markets and stuff like that, go and check Chris out there. I want to end off with a little bit of drama. Andrew Porter has been involved in a press conference earlier, and he said that it's all about getting that 5th star on the jersey, talking about the Champions Cup. He says you don't put the stars from Pro 12s and URC and Pro 14s on your jersey.
Really? Tell the rugby players that.
Oh, wow.
That's a hell of a thing to just throw out there. So I see somebody on Twitter was saying that, for their sake, they really hope the Stormers go and put a star on their jersey next week when they run out of the URC.
So does that mean Man City give back their 3 England Prem titles for the Champions League this year, right? They could just give those back.
Yeah, they don't count. It's just the Champions ones that count.
I mean,
we won't go.
Just imagine having a competition called the Champions Cup and you're not actually playing champions from all over the world, at least from tier 1 nations. So, the Crusaders are sitting there going, like, you haven't given us a chance to play you, so what the hell?
Yeah, that Club World Cup. I'm still waiting for the Club World Cup, where all the big teams can go play the Club World Cup, and the Lions will probably end up playing some second tier one. They'll hold them like Congo or like Uruguay or something like that to play against like the Simbas and stuff. But yeah, it will be fun. Right, and then just so we know, there is a bit of Curry Cup action this weekend. There's actually some very cool Curry Cup action this weekend. Cheetahs versus the Sharks, which is a 1 versus 3 clash. Western Province versus Pumas tomorrow. That is a 2 versus 4 clash. So all 4 teams within the top 4 all playing against each other. And Yuxke Derby at 3 o'clock, Lions versus the Bulls. Those teams should be out tomorrow. It should be very interesting. A couple of signings, by the way, this week from the Sharks, signing Diego Apollos, George Kinnear, and Sia Masuku. All pretty good signings. Much better signings for me than I think what they have been doing in the past. I think George Kinnear obviously came back to the Cheers from France, very highly rated. Sia Masuku, I think, is a nice fit for at 10. And we talked about the fact there wasn't too much centre depth, especially us centre, for example. I think Diego Apollos has been in pretty scintillating form for the Pumas, so I think that's a pretty good signing as well. Right, chaps. yeah, that pretty much brings it to an end. We're gonna run and get ready for load shedding. Myself and Reza in 8 minutes time.
Did we? Are we doing predictions for the final or what?
Yeah, so
Oh,
let's finish off with predictions for Challenge Cup and predictions for Champions Cup final. So I'll tell you what. For once, I'll be bold and I'll go first. Champions Cup, I'm gonna go Leinster by 5. Challenge Cup, I'm gonna go Glasgow by 3. Nice, a little bit of drama.
You actually took mine right out of my mouth, Stevie.
Well, then at least I know that I'm not completely crazy. At least
I'm gonna increase the margins a little bit there. I think Leinster by 9.
Leinster by 9.
Okay, I can back that up. I think Glasgow is going to be tight. So it's going to be a 2-3 point game for Toulon or Glasgow. I think Leinster are going to do the business.
I'm going to say my head says Leinster, but I'm going to throw out. I'm suspecting a big upset here. I think their heads aren't in the right space. So I think if there is,
I'd like to see La Rochelle win. To be honest, I'd love to see La Rochelle win.
Yeah, me
if
too.
Leinster had won this past weekend, then I would have said 100%, no question in my mind. But I think that there's going to be some internal doubt there. And maybe some mistakes made. So.
No, I'll differ with you there. I think they're going to invest everything into this game. They got the home advantage this time, and I think another season playing against the South African teams have put that level of physicality a bit higher that they lacked in last year's final. I think they'll match La Rochelle much better there at home, and the motivation will be there.
Yeah,
it's by 9.
Look, I think it's more wishful thinking. I have said before.
I love La Rochelle. I love Roddy Magara. I love La Rochelle. I love our ciphers in there.
I respect this Leinster side immensely, but flip, that would be a nice one to see. I'm not going to lie to you.
I really want to go to a home Toulouse or La Rochelle European match someday. I must get that on the bucket list. It looks amazing.
Right, well, keep winning the bets, keep getting over the bacon. And there we go. You can pay for a young trip over to go make that happen.
But they got some crazy ass record, La Rochelle, right? I think they've had a sellout the last 3 years, without doubt, every game.
For me, I didn't realize just how big it was until they had their bus parade after the game, and I went going. Yeah. Okay.
And do you remember COVID? You could hear the crowd outside the stadium.
Yeah. No, it was mental. So from that perspective, it'll be very cool to see them go all the way. But next week we'll be talking about who the champions of Europe are, and we'll be talking about can the Stormers bring it home? Can they go back-to-back URC champions? Will John Dobson become one of the most revered coaches around? I suppose if he can guide them to 2 back-to-back URCs, we would have thought. But yeah, thank you everybody who did jump in and for all the comments, stuff like that. I'm sure we didn't get to all of them. But as always, this will be available on all your favorite podcasting sites for a listen back if you're just jumping in now. Whilst you can just rewatch it on YouTube. We will be live over the weekend. Quite a few games lined up. Champions Cup, Challenge Cup finals, as well as Bulls versus the Lions. We will be covering. No Formula 1 this weekend. If you are a Formula 1 fan, then you will know that Imola has been cancelled due to rain. So we will not be seeing Mark tomorrow taking you through all of that. So that's a bit frustrating, but we'll have to just focus on the rugby to keep us going.
Steve, what's this I hear about a big drop on your personal channel coming tomorrow, huh? Do I get to watch something fun?
You tell you what, if you're looking for an early weekend laugh, tomorrow my first golf video is coming out on the CDP channel. You were there. We're doing an attempt to break 45 on a 9 session at the moment, which people are sort of very dismissive, but we're talking about a genuine 45. Everybody's just going, I break 45 all the time. But yes, you're picking up after you go 2 over, So it has to be a genuine 45 for all those that are already sort of starting to throw slander my way.
45 was also my goal in my golf days with the golden number.
Yeah, so that's the plan tomorrow.
46 was ruined the day.
Yeah, well, that's what we're trying
to watch Stevie in his prime.
Yeah, there we go. As you said, hey, listen, hit bombs, take W's. That's the plan. So yeah, that's gonna hit tomorrow on the Stevie channel as well.
Stevie in his prime, smashing golf balls, signing contracts. Life's good.
Taking names. There we go. Right, people, thank you very much, and we will see you guys next week. Smash like on the video, subscribe, and yeah, thanks, chaps, and see you next time.